Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another fun episode for you guys that you want to stick around for. But before we get into it, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button because we're trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and we really appreciate it if you help us hit our target. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll appreciate that. Anyway, let me get into this topic. So for those of you that have been on this channel for the last year or so, or maybe the last 6 months, y'all are fully aware that my favorite player in the NBA is who? Kawhi Leonard, right? That's my dude. That's my guy, right? Although he's not playing this year, I haven't been talking about him as much as I usually would because he's not playing, and I'm not going to be sitting up here talking about Kawhi when he's not playing. Makes no sense, all right? Most people wouldn't care unless it was something relevant. So I haven't been talking about him, but he's still my guy, right? But I'm not one of these people out there that gets threatened when other players are playing better than my favorite player, and because they're playing better than my favorite player, I'm like, oh no, I'm not going to heap praise on them. I'm just going to quietly hate. I'm going to be throwing little subliminals like they do, like they do in hip hop. They're just throwing these little jabs at them, right? You got to decrypt what did he really mean by that, right? I'm not going to do any of that, right? If dudes are balling, they balling. Give it up to them. If you're out there giving people that work, you know what I'm saying? If you're out there giving them that work, you got to give people their props. And that's just how I am. And, and finally, it's not that damn serious. Like, it's really not that serious at the end of the day. They're making their money. It's not that deep. So although Kawhi is my favorite player, right now as we speak, Kevin Durant, I don't think there's a question in my mind that Kevin Durant is playing the best basketball of any individual in the NBA right now. I'm sorry to tell you. Sorry to burst that bubble if you were under the influence of believing something else. KD right now is the best player in the world. And just last night, he put up another classic performance. Just last night again against the Philadelphia 76ers. Let me forget the fact that he was hitting some big shots, in clutch time. Y'all saw the last two plays with him with that pull-up three with the foul, and then, the pick, Blake Griffin rolled to the three-point line and hit the open three. Forget about that. Let's just look at his game stats in that game. And he didn't win that game by himself. Blake Griffin chipped in 17. Nick Claxton chipped in 17. Patty Mills chipped in 14. Cam Thompson. They had a balanced attack. KD's numbers last night, okay. He finished the game with 34 points. Fantastic. There are a lot of players who can score 34 points. He scored 34 points, shooting 54% from the field, pretty much around his average. He shot 66% from the three, 100% from the free throw line, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 4 turnovers, 1 block. That's Kevin Durant for you folks. This dude does this on a nightly basis, right? He put up buckets once again, and he put up another classic performance against the Philadelphia 76ers. However, we have one person in media that has been praising or trumpeting the praises of Stephen Curry, and that person has been Stephen A. Smith. I think this year Stephen Curry is his new guy. That's the guy he's hoping and believing in, whatever it is. Stephen A. Smith has been very high on the Warriors, and I totally understand it because I think the Warriors are going to be in the Western Conference Finals this year, and if you're not careful, they may win this entire championship. I've been saying that, so it's not like as if I just got here and all of a sudden I'm saying this. I think the Warriors are going to be really, really good this year, and I've already said that. And they're doing all of this, by the way. They have the #1 record in the NBA without Klay Thompson. But nevertheless, recently, Stephen A. Smith was singing the praises of Stephen Curry, but in normal Stephen A. Smith's fashion, he always has to do something at the expense of somebody else. And in this case, he was praising Stephen Curry at the expense of who? Kevin Durant. So before we go too far, I want to play some of his comments that he had to make as to why he thinks Stephen Curry may be the MVP this year or at this current moment, and explaining why he believes he's having a better year than Kevin Durant. So before we go too far, take a listen to his comments right here.
We see the points that he's averaging. We see the marksmanship. We see how great he is. But more importantly, we see the kind of season the Golden State Warriors are having. And that doesn't mean the Brooklyn Nets are falling off the wagon. We understand that's not the case. They're still winning games. They're still the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. KD has been putting on an absolute show. I think it's neck and neck in terms of league MVP honors. I'm not trying to act like Steph has it with ease, Jay, or by a mile. I'm certainly not implying that. But I think that when you combine his greatness combined with the Golden State Warriors and what they've been doing this season and fantasies that we have about them ultimately winning the chip, then I compare that to KD, and here's what I come up with. A sensational dude, a professional scorer, an individual, while Steph Curry may be the greatest shooter in the history of basketball, KD might go down as the greatest scorer in the history of the game before all is said and done. I'm not trying to dismiss anything he's doing. Here's my problem, and it's just a preference, Jay.
It's where he's doing it at?
No, Okay. Actually, no. Actually, even though that I would have preferred the Garden, we all know this.
Yes.
And I think in hindsight, he would have preferred the Garden, but that's just me. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm looking at this schedule. Let me throw this by you, Jay. They opened the season with a loss to Milwaukee. They've lost to Charlotte. They've lost to Miami. They've lost to the Chicago Bulls. They got blown out by the Golden State Warriors. They lost to the Phoenix Suns. They lost to the Chicago Bulls again. They lost to the Houston Rockets. And I'm just looking at these teams that are playoff caliber teams, and so many of them you've lost to. And here's where I walk away. Here's what I walk away feeling, Jay. And I don't wish this because I love KD. If the Brooklyn Nets don't win the chip, but Golden State does, Kevin Durant is on the verge of being more recognized for the guy who left Steph Curry to join forces with Kyrie Irving than a guy who won 2 championships and 2 finals MVPs. That's where I'm at with it.
Now, here are my issues with some of the things that he said. Number one, KD is winning in the tougher conference right now. The Eastern Conference has been pretty strong to this point, right? Usually it's the Western Conference, but at this present moment, the Eastern Conference is very strong. There are a lot of surprises. You have Miami, you have the Chicago Bulls, even the Cleveland Cavaliers, for God's sakes, they're doing well. Of course, you have the Milwaukee Bucks, and you have the Philadelphia 76ers, and then you have the Brooklyn Nets. So he's been playing in a tougher conference. I mean, just look at the West right now, right? The West, there really only 2 or 3 teams. You have the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, and the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers are not what we expected them to be. They're not playing very well. I mean, they're playing well. They're beating teams like the Magic. And you have the Lakers. Then, of course, you have the Clippers, who are without Kawhi Leonard. Paul George is not barely there half the time. So the West is not really what it was, let's say, last year, right? So KD right now is playing in a better conference, number one. Number two, if you look at the individual stats, KD has the better numbers. He just does. If you look at Kevin Durant's numbers this season, he's averaging almost 30 points per game, 29.7 points per game. He's shooting 52% from the field, which is impressive, which is incredible to me. He's shooting 38% from the three, 88% from the free throw, 88.6% from the free throw line, getting you almost 8 rebounds a game, almost 6 assists a game, and almost 1 block per game. If you look at Stephen Curry, he's also doing very well. He's averaging 27 points per game, shooting 43%. That's 9 percentage. No, that's 11 percentage points. No, wait a second. How much is KD shooting? No. He's shooting 9 percentage points lower than Kevin Durant from the field. He's shooting 39.9, 40%, 2 percentage points higher from him from the three, 92% from the free throw line, about 4 percentage points higher than KD. But KD's getting more rebounds. He's getting about the same amount of assists. Stephen Curry's getting 6.1 assists per game, and he's getting 1.6 steals. They're both tied around turnovers, but KD is getting more blocks per game. So KD has the individual stats, and the efficiency just puts the only thing that Curry's doing is shooting it slightly higher from the free throw line and the 3-point line, and he's a 3-point specialist, so you expect him to shoot higher from the 3-point line because he holds the record for that. However, this is the reason. That's just one of the reasons. Here's another reason why I think KD should definitely be the lead in the MVP right now, and definitely why he's putting a lot of his critics to shame. Number one, he's playing in a more turbulent situation. Why? Number one, he's lacking a coach that has great coaching experience. You're talking about Steve Nash to Steve Kerr. Multiple-time champion, he's been to the championship round multiple times. They have a winning organization. They have a culture there that works perfectly. You have that compared to what KD has. Obviously, KD's playing with the uncertainty of Kyrie Irving. He's not playing with Kyrie Irving. We don't know if Kyrie Irving is going to play this season. You have that. And then, of course, you have the other variable that you have to consider, which is James Harden. James Harden is not, he doesn't look like what he used to look like in the past, right? KD's dealing with all of these moving parts, and somehow, some way, he still has his team at the number one spot in the Eastern Conference, right? And you got to give the guy some credit for that. A lot of people, for whatever reason, we said this in the previous video, I don't know what is going on with this Kevin Durant. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the issue is with people and Kevin Durant. What is it? What is it with, I don't get it. Again, KD's not my favorite player, but come on, first of all, if you're a basketball fan, why would you hate on KD? If you enjoy watching basketball, how can you not give this dude his props? He's ill. He got game. He's ill. Why are we hating on this dude for? Just give him his props. What is it? What is going on? Why can't we give him his props? I don't understand. You see dudes like LaMelo Ball and these other dudes, yeah, his son is nice, blah, blah. But then when it comes to KD, oh, well, he never won without this guy. Oh, I'm like, yo, what is going on? Are we going to hate on this dude for his entire career? Give it up to him. Son is nice. And for whatever reason, we got to look for this angle and this angle. Well, you know, he's not this, KD's not this. Cut it out, man. A lot of people have said, oh, you know, who was Stephen Curry without KD? Yo, listen to me. Stephen Curry got 3 championship rings. 2 of those rings are because of Kevin Durant. Y'all can say whatever y'all want. We saw the NBA Finals. We know who hit the biggest buckets in those finals. Like, what are we talking about? KD was so good, so much better than Stephen Curry in those finals. During their second championship year, when they won that championship, he was literally trying to hand Stephen Curry the finals MVP. And it was like, nah, son, come on, cut it out. Like, we know you're trying to give it to him, but you're just clearly better, so we're going to give you the finals MVP. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? We got to stop hating on Kevin Durant. Come on. Like, if we're not going to appreciate him, then who are we going to appreciate as basketball fans? We got to stop this hating. He is too good of a basketball player for us to just be hating. You know, there's just like this hate. Like, we got to stop with it. It's okay. Stephen Curry's nice. So is KD. And the reality is KD's better than Steph. That's not a knock on Stephen Curry. It is the reality. Like, come on, we just got to stop hating on him. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think? Do you think Kevin Durant is silencing his critics this year? Or do you think that people are just going to continue hating on this dude? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode.